us?
I'm already filming.
Ah,
Yeah.
I'm singing in that voice. That's why he's looking at me like.
Well, here we are. So this is, I suppose, our 20th episode.
Wow.
A milestone.
It is a milestone indeed. 20
Yeah.
episode. When did this happen?
I kind of wanted to do a bit of I suppose, a reflection in terms of where we started with the podcast and how far we've come, and sort of share that, because I know there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes in terms of what happens, and you know, it can sometimes be a bit of a disorganized chaos.
Yeah.
So the idea for this podcast, it came about, obviously there was season 1, but that was just sort of me talking, and I was and she said to me, I love, you know, not just listening to podcasts but also watching it. So I thought I'll flag it with you and see if you wanted to do something that's a little bit different, you know, rather than kind of going through this standard podcast where someone talks into the microphone. A lot of people are now doing video podcasts, and I thought, you know, let's give it a go and see what happens out of it.
Yeah, and I love the idea straight away, because I haven't done this much, and I like speaking. I like having these kind of conversations, exchanging ideas, and I thought, this is fantastic. And you know, it definitely breaks the routine.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the nature of our job has a lot to do with, you know, sitting in the computer, changing emails. Yes, you do see clients or through the camera or face to face, but like sometimes it may feel a little bit routinary. So this activity was like the best idea to break that routine and to share
to kind of switch off. Yeah,
and then also share with whoever is listening to us. You know, because we can read the comments, we can read feedbacks, we receive the questions. That, by the way, we'll have an announcement too.
Random questions.
And so that's how the idea came, and we've loved it. I have enjoyed it a lot.
All right. So, what do you hope listeners will take away from your episodes?
What do we hope that listeners take away from our episodes? Well, look, there's a couple of things. For me, I hope that they take away immigration knowledge that's not textbook, something that you can't look up. I think that's, for me, the biggest sort of takeaway. But I also hope that our listeners get to relax and unwind just like we do during the podcast.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the takeaway for me, or that I hope people take, is that things in a conversation way.
Yeah,
like this is something you can have, you know, in a relaxed manner. Like I think I'm mirroring a little bit what you're saying, Ross, because this is our concept.
Yeah,
and to keep a conversation open, and that at the end of the day, there has been a lot of changes. Yeah, I think that's the other takeaway that I have in mind. Like, immigration always changes. I think we all know this. But yeah, let's keep the conversation up.
Can you share a memorable or funny moment from one of your episodes?
Well, I want to go back to that episode we filmed with Ellie Saad, because it was interesting, because I think they were our first. Were they our first?
second guest. Yeah.
Okay, with them was special though, because we were definitely, you know, going out of the usual. Like, they were the creators and the actors for these pretty cool acting, and I was a little bit nervous. I was a little bit like, I mean, the conversation was flowing in a way that at some point I felt, oh my god, well, how can I participate in the conversation that is happening? And I think you could say, like, the way I was, you know, like I was like sort of like looking at everyone, and until I was okay, now I know what to say, and then I threw the comment, you know. So I found it hard to break the ice on my side, but then when I finally did, I think it went well.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you prepare for the interviews? For example, as you said, with Ellie and Ruth, how do you prepare yourself for it?
It's a different. I mean, for me, I like to have a chat with them off camera because I think that's important. Because if you kind of just, it's kind of like what we do. We have a chat before the camera, so that way, you kind of break that ice. So I think well, in my view, that's when small talk does matter, because otherwise it just seems really awkward on camera. So by the time that we start filming, you kind of want to be in that conversational zone. Otherwise, I just don't think it works. So it's important that we have that rapport already built, as opposed to building the rapport whilst we're talking.
And obviously prepare like a couple of questions, like have them in mind related to what the guest is does or what we are doing. So
I think and also just do a bit of research, basic things. I know it sounds it sounds basic, but how are you going to interview someone if you've got no idea what they do? So doing a bit of research, it is important. That's why there's a lot of work that goes into these episodes. We keep them short, but the actual prep time is quite strenuous.
Okay, so how do you handle difficult or unexpected situations during recordings?
I don't react to it. Because
yes, sometimes I mean, like, I think someone once just stormed into the room in the middle of the filming, and we were like, okay, what's happening? And then obviously you have to cut, you have to repeat the scene, and sometimes you're like quite inspired, and then that gets interrupted. So yeah, I think that's probably the most challenging thing.
Yeah. I just try not to react, and I kind of go, all right, well, let's just either reshoot it or keep it as part of the script.
How has hosting a podcast impacted your life or career?
That's a very nice question, because look, I think hosting the podcast has definitely pushed me to be sure about what I'm talking about, like, or let me put it this way, like, to ensure that I am confident about what I'm speaking about, because obviously this is a conversation that is being shared with professionals, with people that know of the area. So if I'm gonna say something that I'm gonna share with everyone, like I have to be sure. So not to take things lightly, not to take facts lightly, like make sure that I understand. Perhaps sometimes like I may not understand things, but this is also precisely to discuss that, because I may ask you, hey Ross, what do you think about this? And then your answer is gonna straight away complement. And that's the idea, that if we're having the conversation with the viewer, everyone is gonna take something, even ourselves.
And I've definitely seen your sort of well, I don't want to say confidence, because you've always been confident, but I feel like you became more comfortable with sort of hosting. It became more natural. So I've definitely seen that progression, and I feel like we bounce ideas off one another. So that's been really kind of nice to watch that progression, and I feel like that's been picking up more and more.
Thank you.
So, what have you learned about yourself since starting the podcast?
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, it is. Well, I think I've learned about myself that I mean, I've always known that I like sharing, but I think this is another level or another way to share, because I like talking. I like,
the conversation.
The conversation. So I know I'm having the conversation with you, but I also know there is another group of people behind the camera. And like, I don't know if I have shared stuff like this at this level. And I think I'm learning how much more I like it. So
for me, what I've learned about myself is, well, not necessarily what I've learned, but maybe just tapping into the creative side of things, because I've always been more technical, but this has allowed me to get into the creative side. So being able to kind of step away from the legal perspective and really looking at, you know, how do you put together a project that's your passion. So that's the biggest and learning curve for me, and being able to bring it to life, it's been great.
So good, yeah.
And last but not least, what are your future plans for the podcast?
Oh, what are the future plans? Well, there's actually quite a nice surprise coming up. It's going to be different. I don't know how much I want to share. I mean, I can sort of share.
Give a kind of a spoiler for us.
Yeah. Well. Look, I think what people can expect is season 1 was just me talking. Season 2, we had the video. So think of the next season as something that's going to be a little bit more elevated, and it may or may not be in the studio. I think that's all that I can say for the time being. But there is a plan, and it's going to be very different. If you kind of can see the pattern between our seasons, every season is different, and there is a creative idea that has been formed around season 3.
Yay.
Well, it's been a pleasure to participate in this podcast, share the ideas, share these moments. Thank you so much, Ross, for giving me the opportunity. And you know, I've loved it. Like, I think, like I said before, like, I love having conversations, and these definitely have taken me to another level of having this, and I'm really grateful.
Yeah, look, and I'm getting goosebumps. No, it has been amazing. I never forget. You know, every day when I wake up, I don't take for granted how lucky I am to be in this position, to be able to put out such projects and to be able to share that with others, to have people join me on this journey has just been a blessing, and I could not be happier to be finishing on such a high note. And I really am looking forward to getting back to the camera with our little surprise. And I just want to thank everyone who have supported us. It can be challenging to have an idea, but to have an idea and then have it to come to life and be a project that is real, you know, I can't say more than that. I'm just very, very happy that it turned out the way that it has. We did it.
We did it. And see you in season 3.